We'll just die right into the mic real quick. What was the last thing we did? We got information from Gantz. We talked to MEEKINS. Right, we're trying to get into the evidence room to see the crime scene, but no one's here. I have to turn you down again. Okay. So we have to find some trigger that'll make Marshall show up, I guess, so that we can get in. Do you have anything new? Oh, there you go. Okay, permission to enter. Actually, I was wondering if I could ask you a favor. Well, I never thought the day would come when Righto asked me for help. I was wondering if we could investigate the evidence room. Dramatic fade. This tell's kind of annoying because it's so slow-paced. Or it's not a tell, it's a tick. His personality is a dramatic pause as the music fades out, and it's just like, okay. Now, Righto. Actually, I'm sorry, I don't need to investigate at all. Righto, please. Do I look like a selfish man? Huh? Heck, if anyone asked me, sir, can I borrow $50, I'd give them $50, no problem. So go ahead, investigate that room to your heart's content. Knock yourself out. Just goes to show you never know until you ask. And for you, here, you can borrow this. Hey, this is a detective's ID card, isn't it? That's a special card for guests, so don't lose it. Yes, sir, it's an honor. You just run along and do your best now, later, folks. It looks pretty cool on my lapel, doesn't it? Just think, a real ID. You seem happy. Yes, sir. Because, sir, we get to go into the evidence room now, sir. I think this place is bad influence on the girl. So now we got... Okay, we don't physically have it. I guess Emma has it. We have this, lost item report now. Okay, the only way that MEEKINS could be worse is that if his, I don't know what that is, tick was just the mic again, because... Actually, stop. Oh hey, did you catch that his first name is Mike? You know, like a microphone? Ha ha ha. Ha ha hee hee. Bruh, because it hurt my ears. He's lucky I didn't have headphones on. It would have been worse. Like, just imagine having it play in your ears. Like, it's the worst. Like, feedback noise every 3 seconds? Stop. Alright, well, I don't think anyone's gonna have anything to say, so I guess this is just gonna be a trial-only sort of situation for a piece of evidence. Guard station. Examine. Is Marshall gonna show up now? Evidence room's beyond that door. And we have ID from Chief Cat. Let's just walk in. You want to open? Aha, the card reader's turned off, see? What is that security guard thinking? Howdy, partners. Well, well. What's made my bambina sky so gray? It's me, local California, Texas man. Jake Marshall. From the Old West. Officer Marshall? Why does it have to be? Who else would it be? What's that? Why does it have to be him look for? As you may have surmised, this here's my saloon. We're here to investigate the crime scene? Yeehaw! That card you got there on your chest. That's better than a sheriff's badge in these parts. Yeehaw! Well, what are you standing there for? Get along, little doggy. Crime scenes are waiting. Beep. Looks like the card reader's on again. While we're here, I was wondering if we could ask you some questions. Sorry, cowboy. I got no mind to tangle with you, hombres. You're busy then? Did I say that? I only said I didn't wish to speak with you. Actually, you said you had no mind to tangle with us hombres. Well, here you go. That smell. Reminds me of Texas. Salisbury steak, I don't think is a Texas thing. I'm pretty sure it's a Japanese/European thing. And even then, like the Salisbury steak that this is probably not even the same Salisbury steak as the American Salisbury steak. Anyways, so Officer Marshall, you're from Texas? Nah, I just saw a special on TV the other day. This is from my baby. Yeah, Miss Star. What's this? What? What's wrong? Billet's steak lunch. I see. I don't see. I wonder what it means. Codes in steak lunches. Alright, Bambina, you win. Ask. Finally, it seems like he's willing to talk. Guard station. Officer Marshall, you're in charge of security for the evidence room, right? You got good eyes, partner. It's an easy job, and I'm grateful for it. Actually, Officer Meekins at the detention center told us. That poor little doggy. Poor guy. I keep getting his name wrong, calling him Meekly. Told us something. Said that when the stabbing occurred, you weren't at your station? Well, maybe I shouldn't be telling you this, but since I got demoted from detective 2 years ago, well, it might not look it, but I lost my fire for the job, you know? So, what, you were doing around 5:15 when the murder took place? Well, I reckon I was galloping down the highway on the back of my steed, Zippy. It's on his scooter. He was riding on the highway on his horse named Zippy. There's no need for people here anyhow. This newfangled machines do a bang-up job of keeping an eye on the place. I mean the security camera system? I don't take to machines much. Kinda like that stewed broccoli they sneak in next to your steak, you know? Marshall. Star told us something. She said that you were a detective until 2 years ago. It's always my dream to be a rawhide wrangler on the scene of crime. It's all gone now, like a drinking hole in a prairie fire. You're still investigating the SL9 incident with Miss Star, aren't you? That was my case. It's all solved on the record books. Smells like a bad game of poker. Can't let it go. That's all there is to it. What kind of case was it anyway? Heard the name so many times, but no one tells us that it actually happened. There are some things you're better off not knowing, Bambina. Anyway, that case is officially dead as of 2 days ago. Oh, the statute of limitations was 2 days ago. 2 days ago. The day of the case. That's right. The evidence transfer. Edward was talking about transfers too. I know what maybe 2 of the machines in here do. But only 2 of them? There must be dozens. Like I said, Bambina, me and machines, well, I like them as much as I like stewed cauliflower with my steaks. The easiest ones to understand are these here security cameras. Those are the ones Officer Meekins mentioned. Nothing happens, the tape are automatically erased every few hours. And Officer Meekins and Detective Goodman are the only ones on the tape? I reckon they might be. You're the security guard and you reckon? One more thing. When you go into the evidence room, you need an ID card. Thus the card reader by the door. Card reader leaves a record of every ID that passes through here. So this is the ID card record. Hey, I've seen that somewhere before. Sorry, Bambi, I can't show you more than that. Huh? I haven't heard whether this is related to case yet. That's right, I just saw a record on a number on record. I've seen it before. Oh, good. We have to prove it to him, too. Even though we proved it in court, I guess he wasn't watching. Or he did it and he's being uncooperative on purpose. It's probably going to end up being that Goodman was the one that faked the evidence for the case 2 years ago. Which is why he's the only one that stayed a detective. While the others got demoted. Even though Marshall was the one that's like, was leading the case. So then you can't even get revenge on the dead guy, so it's like, oh. Sorry, but could you explain this whole transferal thing is about? Keep only evidence from solved cases in this room. They kept it here under the presiding detective's supervision for 2 years. So we can reinvestigate them if it turns out there was a mistake, see? So what happens to the evidence after 2 years? It was asleep forever in the underground vault at the county sheriff's department. That's what we call transferal. We do it every February. I see now. Transferal is like a funeral for old cases. 2 years after a case is solved, it's closed forever, dead. Never to be reopened again, never to be reinvestigated. That happened at Cell 9 2 days ago. Look at my badge. I think I've shown it to you before. Sheriffs back in the Wild West didn't place enough faith in evidence. About the only thing they trusted was their hot shooting hand. This is neither Wild nor West here. Aha, but that and this are 2 entirely different things. I guess so. Huh? No, I'm lost. I need evidence to get anywhere with this guy. Alright, here's the ID. See, this is the victim's ID card. Ah, the one they got on the ground in the parking lot. Number on it is 584-2189. Officer Marshall, show us the ID list again. Look, it's the 4th number. It's a perfect match. You used it 514 right before the stabbing. What's more, there's only one of them cards in the world. So when the incident occurred, Detective Goodman was in the evidence room. But wait, what did Officer Meekins say? Sir, I entered the evidence room and asked for the ID card. Pulled out the knife. Thank you for not playing the feedback sound on the replay. If he had his ID card, why would he have pointed a knife at Officer Meekins? Well, you see, just because the ID says it's a person, doesn't mean it was actually the person. I mean, the wallet was like 1 billion feet from the body on the floor of the parking lot. I don't think you normally like throw your wallet when you're about to die like that. Which is more likely that someone had it and just dropped it at the scene. Like, oh yeah, he should have his wallet, I guess. Which honestly would mean that the other set of fingerprints should be on there unless they were wearing gloves. So, and the only reason that he would pull a knife on him is if his face did not match the ID that he'd used to enter. Anyway, alright, compadre, you win. I guess I can give you this ID card record. Someone's number is just 777777. Which, lucky for them, that's easy to remember. I've got an idea. Maybe I should show this list to other people with IDs here. To figure out who's who. Alright, well, I guess we're filling out who's who, yeah. Because we got it filled out now. Bruce Goodman. I guess we'll present it again and this will be like, what's your ID? No, I guess not. I guess he doesn't even have, like, a detective ID? He's a patrolman now? We've already done this song and dance, please. Come on, Emma, we've done this already. I didn't know it would play the same scene. No. Alright. Is there really nothing from anyone else? Oh god. Don't worry about slow down. Yeah, we're gonna get nothing else. No, not even that. Yeah, I guess he just has nothing else for us. Well, before we enter, I guess we'll try to go and find other people to show this to. Criminal affairs. Nope. Meekins, which one's your ID? Is it the one right after? Maybe I have to do that after I investigate the room. Since otherwise the only big players that we would get IDs for are probably Detective Gumshoe and Chief Officer Gantz. I don't know what that means. Bruh. Alright, let's investigate. Oh, this sure looks like a morgue for evidence, huh? I ended Firefox, what do you mean it crashed? Question mark? Alright, it's quiet. The investigation must be over here. So it's the evidence room. Really is kind of a graveyard. Graveyards are supposed to have grass and trees. This feels more like a morgue. Yeah, I know what you up to, Phoenix. I know what's up. I know what's up. Yeah, I know what's up. It was me. I was Phoenix right the whole time. Bum, 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 bum. Alright. Nice try, Mr. Wright. You can't scare me. Hey, Gumshoe, what the fuck are you doing in here? Equal? We just get punched? What happened? Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. I wouldn't recommend going around smacking ghosts on the head, pal. So is it true what I heard? Yeah, it's true. So Chief of Police Gant will loan anyone $50? Even me? Oh, so that's what you were talking about. Actually, I was put in charge of the investigation for today. Just for today? Boss for a day. But guess what? You got special permission from the chief, so now you're boss for a day. Gee, thanks. First of all, you'll want to have this. Oh, so okay, he's making us do all the investigative work. Okay. Thanks, Gumshoe. Now I have the chance to use all these DS features. Whoa. Alright. Boss for a day. So, Detective Gumshoe, you're boss for the day? That's right. It's an honor. After all, the murder took place here, in the police department. But if you're the boss, why are you all alone? Where are your underlings? They're using yesterday's findings to prepare for tomorrow's trial. In other words, you got kicked out of the investigation again. I'm adamant, though. I'm gonna take control and put this case to rest. In my own evidence locker, pal. You have a locker in here, detective? Ha, of course. I am a detective, after all. Gave me a locker that only I can open, pal. Only you can open? Oh, hey, they're ID locked. I always believe in... Well, I mean, that makes it even more sus that the ID for Goodman was here. I mean, someone went in to take a piece of evidence. I always believe in Mr. Edgeworth, no matter what happens. So, Mr. Edgeworth is with the Inquiry Committee right now, right? They're trying to figure out who's responsible for the mess-up in court today. Let's see. I guess this is what you call fate. Mr. Edgeworth just can't get away from that case. Was he actually in charge of SL9? Is this gonna be the big twist? Yeah, that case. The SL9 incident. Oh, there it is. That was the beginning of the end for Mr. Edgeworth. We can get him to tell us more about the case. Evidence. This place is more high-tech than you might think. Every locker is fixed so that only one detective can open it. Using an ID card? Well, that's the thing, pal. ID cards can be lost. I'm on my third card since entering the force. That sounds like a lot. Yeah, but even I can't lose my own right hand. Right hand? Oh, you mean your fingerprint? Exactly, pal. A lock for each locker is coded with a fingerprint. Oh. So the only lock... Oh, that's a lot of randomly opened ones, huh? So the only locker we can open is our own. Funny, they look like normal lockers. This thing is the latest model. There's a trick to the handles, see? Handles. On the other side of the handle is a sensor, and if the wrong person touches it, you get a shock. If that's what happened, my hand would be black and smoking every day. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are some people that don't, there are even some people on the force that don't know about the finger locks. Alright. Oh, my badge. Okay, Goodman's ID. These days, everything's cards and secret numbers. I can never relax. It's only because you always lose your card. I always forget my secret number too. Scary, huh? My face should be ID enough. What's the world coming to? Detective Gumshoe, rebel against the system. Hey, that's it. That's the King of Prosecutors Award that Miss Edgeworth got the other day. Were you at the award ceremony, Detective Gumshoe? Of course, pal. I got an award for diligence. Congrats. Why is the shield broken? I don't remember what the reason is. Okay. I think this is all the same. Yeah. I mentioned the Blue Badger. SL9. Goodman's now in the Switchblade. I bet Edgeworth is the most surprised of anyone because of the SL9 connection. That was Miss Edgeworth's first big case, you know, 2 years ago. Yeah, they did mention that he started at like 21. They are 23 now. So. That was the first time the world knew Edgeworth was a man to be feared. Why would evidence from that case turn up now? Guess it's not over, pal. Maybe there are some loose ends left on the case. Cell phone. Okay. Parking lot plan photo. That's a photo Miss Starr took. You could tell us about it? That Miss Starr is quite the lady. Well, I remember it was winter. I was 16. She was the only one who ever got me to talk about what happened. 16? That's how old I am now. Wonder what happened. wonder if Detective Gumshoe wore a trench coat in high school, too. The knife is probably going to give the same info. Yeah. So that means that after investigating here, probably go to Edgeworth's office, and then he'll have something. What's your ID on this? You take a look at this. This is the ID record of people came here on the day of the stabbing. Ah, I heard the rumors. So it was Goodman who was there at the time. Whoa! What is it? That second number. It's not your ID number, is it, Detective Gumshoe? Mr. Edgeworth! What? The second number on this list belongs to Mr. Edgeworth. What? What? Updated. Why would Edgeworth have come to the evidence room? Can't open the lockers if your fingerprint doesn't match. If you can open it, then I'll give you 50 cents. If you can open it, they'll give you 50 cents. Note: the police department lacks faith in its lock system, and it's also cheap. After all, Detective Goodman was stabbed here after opening his locker. At the same time, he was found dead over at the prosecutor's office. I mean, there are like primitive way of like lifting fingerprints, so. They could have lifted it and then used it on the inverse using like tape. I mean, it's 2001. The systems aren't that sophisticated. SL9 incident. Now that was a bloody violent case. Violence. It was a murder. Serial killing. Serial killing. Maybe I don't want to get involved in this. But the killer made a mistake, and Mr. Edgeworth built his case around that to nab him. And this was 2 years ago. That put Mr. Edgeworth right on the spotlight. Started the rumor mill. It was supposed to be all cleared up with the transferal the other day. It was the last job he ever did. Detective Goodman, that is. Detective Goodman was the detective in charge of the SL9 incident, see? That switchblade knife, the victim took the knife out of the evidence locker himself. Spooky. Alright. Well, let's start spraying. Got any blood on these lockers? I mean, there's clearly a blood handprint on this one. Wait, wasn't this the one that was open a second ago? In the preview image? Yeah, there was. Someone's right handprint. What? What's the matter, detective? That locker, it's mine. It's yours, please. You have to help me when they come to take me away. Promise you'll testify that I wouldn't harm a fly. You'll do that for me, won't you, pals? This is an important clue, I'll jot it down. Count on you guys. Believe me, you can't trust the police. What? But you're a detective. Oh, there's a lot of blood over here. This must have been one massive pool of blood. Never seen anything like it. Not professional, but what's your opinion, detective? Pale blue blood. Maybe Detective Goodman was actually an alien. This proves that something really did happen. Really happened in front of this locker. Make a note of it on the floor plan. Hey, if you didn't ask my. If you didn't want my opinion, you shouldn't have asked. The aliens. Right, that's it. Let's examine the room now. Look at all this big pile of junk in the corner. That looks like a car door. There's a pair of handcuffs attached to the frame. Maybe the guy they caught was some sort of escape artist and got away. And that's one of them human profiles for range testing. It's been shot square in the forehead. Better him than us. How does a cloth sticking out? Something sticking out here. Looks like a shirt. I guess it must be some evidence for a case. Wonder if Detective Gumshoe put this here. There you go, pal. Making me suds like some kind of slob. Not responsible for the evidence here, that said. I bet that evidence locker was opened recently. How do you know? If you leave things hanging out like that, the evidence gets dirty or ripped. The guard checks on that kind of stuff and notifies the detective responsible. How many times have I had him breathing down my neck about some silly evidence? Sounds like Detective Gumshoe leaves evidence hanging out a lot, too. Bet he doesn't tuck in his shirt under the trench coat either. If you're gonna talk behind someone's back, don't do it right in front of them, pal. Got fishing gear. Some sort of bulky equipment's gathering dust here. What a sorry looking fishing pole that is. Ah, that's my personal pole. Never did get around to using it. Wait, I've seen that. Oh, it's the stuff from the previous case, the metal detector. Where's the dog then? Right, pal, that's the metal detector, the one that led to solving the case at Gordon Lake. Remember? Oh, that's right. Wow, that feels like it was ages ago. 2 months. And I don't think I've seen this one before. No, that's a bug sweeper. Sure, it'll come in handy in solving some case sooner or later. Cheap looking box. Can't judge a person or a machine by their cover. You gotta look at their heart. Paint. Place of stuff and evidence. Stuff with dreams. Not sure about dreams. It won't open. Really think it would? Hey pal, security's high tech around here. Blub. It's a little worn out, but it's a handprint. Looks like someone tried to wipe it off. After other blood stains. I used it already. Guys, I did it already. Something broke. Someone must have broken something big with all these pieces. Oh, I remember this. Apparently from the case. The SL9 incident. See the stickers on the piece right here? Take a look. Yeah, I remember this. That's no job for amateurs. I spent 3 hours on that before I gave up. That's why I always carry a tube of glue. Looks like the bottom piece. Let's try to build the rest. Look at this DS feature. Look at this DS feature. Let's see. Okay. So we're looking for the piece that fits into the slot up there first, I guess. So what do we got? We got zigzag up. It doesn't loop. That's a really big piece. I thought this was smaller. Alright, so this was bigger than I thought. Like it showed like the base, and then I put the first piece, and it was huge, and I was like, what the fuck? Alright. Huh? I think we did it, but some pieces are still missing. Yeah, I got that far too in 2 minutes myself. That's problem is finishing it. Some pieces stolen, but they were missing to begin with. Still, doesn't look like the most stable kind of jar. Kind of understand how it got broken. Unstable jar. Okay, that's a weird check. Jar put together from fragments found on a crime scene. Pieces are still missing. They're hard to make out, but there's some red stains here. Looks like blood. Think that have Goodman somehow got somehow got in this one, got stabbed? Not likely. This blood looks like it's been here for months, maybe longer. This thing doesn't have a bottom. That's weird. Wonder what side is up. Better yet, what's the purpose of this bottomless jar? At least it doesn't collect dust inside, right? Alright, we got some gloves. Someone left the glove here, but only one. Detective Gumshoe, maybe? There you go, pal, making me out to some kind of absent-minded detective. That's evidence from the case, you know? I'm just adding all this random shit. Paint. What's a sawn paint doing here? Since the dawn of time, true art. I've always been at war against oppression. True art. I noticed. Perhaps we're witnessing the birthplace of the Blue Badger. Well, you might say this is my studio. In the evidence? Why are some pieces missing and it's unstable? And a locker. This one's open and it's red. Locker's coded, Detective Goodson's fingerprints. Sure it's okay to leave it open like that? Well, it'd be hard to get it open if we closed it. God, there's so many pieces of evidence now. Extremely thin rubber glove. Texas SL911. This is another piece of evidence from the case. They wouldn't care for the word tag, it's confusing. You know, how many other words sound like it? Bag, gag, nag, lag, shag, zag. Do you challenge me? What are we playing, a word game now? Flat. Okay. I guess... Do you have anything to say about these? No. They're dancing proudly on the day of the award ceremony, but there are a lot of people coming and going after the award ceremony. They took the blue badge away for a while. They said it was shameful or something like that. Shameful. I toiled night and day. Okay. It really has nothing to say. So we got Bloodstain 1 and 2. Guess that's all we get. Okay, we're getting nothing out of you now. Guess we'll just talk to Edgeworth. Oh, he's still not back, huh? Okay, huh. Do we just go back to base? There's only like 2 people we have to talk to. So who am I missing a dialogue on? Do. Seriously, who am I missing dialogue on? Is it Gumshoe again? I thought I showed him everything. Everything. I figured like Edgeworth would be available to talk to now because I triggered that, but no, apparently not. So I'm missing a dialogue or I'm missing an item. I thought I investigated everything. Am I just missing showing it to someone or what? I can't hear you because I have you turned down because my voice is like 12 times louder than you. So when I'm like mid-conversation and I'm listening to you, I just hear myself. Like a second later and I'm like, oh. But I know, I checked all of his dialogues, but they're all still checkmarked. Nothing's changed. That's what I went around to do. I checked everyone's like dialogue tree to see if they were still checkmarked. Because when it's something new, it uncheckmarks itself. What the fuck was that beep? What the fuck? No. Because all I hear is myself, so I can't talk to you. Like, did I not investigate everything here? There's the open locker, there's these things, there's the pool of blood, which I assume is 2. Open, everything's been taken. Load. There's nothing to check on this locker. I don't know what I'm missing.
I examine the paints here, and it's all like, oh, this is the birth of the blue Bager. Like, and this is all gonna be the same except for this handprint. Can't examine the paint. Open locker. Got the glove. Got this. Is there something here that I'm missing? No, it's still the same jar. We examined this cloth. Like, I'm about to just look it up because I'm pretty sure I did everything in this room. And I figured next would be we're talking to Edgeworth. Is this thing on the floor? Maybe? I can't even reach that because the examined one comes up. Not that, I guess. Like, and I'm pretty sure I sprayed the whole room. Oh, okay. Wait, I sprayed this before. I sprayed this before and there was nothing that appeared there. What? I remember spraying the whole room. You can go back and check. I sprayed the whole room. Now there's something new here? Alright. Why am I getting a reaction here? There's no reason for the murderer to touch this spot as he fled out the door. That's some pretty amazing stuff you got there, pal. It's called luminol testing fluid. Where'd you get your hands on that? I'd like to get some. I'll just borrow 50 bucks from the chief. Where'd you get it? I was by mail order. Pal, look at the time. Was there something you needed? This Miss Edgeworth inquiry committee's gonna be let out soon. I'm gonna go give them my report for the day. Might help, you know. Report? You mean the note written on the back of that flyer? The one that says nothing but no problems? Hey, it's Mr. Edgeworth we're talking about. I'm sure he'll use this a report like this. I believe in him. Who needs enemies when you've got friends like Detective Gumshoe? I'm off pal later. Yeah, I remember spraying this whole room first before panning to the other side. What? Is that just a case of you didn't investigate everything, now you're allowed to see the thing? Because that's not good. That's not a good design. Yeah. This case is jank. Alright. I guess now we go all the way over to Edgeworth. They said as much. Oh hey, it's the bellboy, what the fuck? No, actually, what the fuck? I guess, my apologies. Oh, it's you. Have we met somewhere before? Huh? Mr. Edgeworth, I beg your leave so long. Is Edgeworth here? There, standing by the window, a teacup in hand. Depressed, right. He has the hotel bring him tea service? Miss Edgeworth, you're back from the district prosecutor's office inquiry? I am. By the way, Detective Gumshoe was looking for you. Yes, he brought me the latest info, it seems. Really? Was it helpful? Apparently a new French restaurant is opening near here. I think he was trying to console me somehow. The real info's on the other side, Edgeworth. Poor Miss Edgeworth, I think this whole thing is really taking a toll on him. So how'd the inquiry go? Actually, they decided to treat this not as a case of concealing evidence, but as a communications error due to the investigation. Concealing evidence? Yes, apparently there are some who believe that I concealed evidence. They gave me a warning. You were lucky this time. Again. Again? I've heard them say that so many times, ever since that case 2 years ago. Wow, sure. Does everything. Oh, yeah. It sure is 2 years ago. Yeah. Are you okay for the trial tomorrow? Well, I'm still presiding prosecutor attorney. However, something happened. They gave control of the investigation over to the police department. The police department. Yes, any further investigation for this case will be directed by the chief of police Gaunt. I can do nothing but wait for his results. I see. Why, I ask you why? All along, I've done only what I believe is right. I have nothing to be ashamed of. But still. I've never seen him like this out of sorts. Alright. It's time to start presenting things. Let's show him my best. I'll show you my finest potions. I'm the prosecutor. We can't be exchanging info over a cup of tea. I'll pass on the tea. Just give me the evidence. It's another case of a past case coming to light. You know, why don't you tell me about the truth? Probably already got hold of some info. All it has to do with the SL9 info and the dark suspicion you're wrapped in. You are the man who revived my most worst memory. I figured I'll be telling you sooner or later. Alright, cell phone. The knife. Alright, does this just all lead to the same, like, tell me about SL9? How about this? I'm assuming I'll get something out of the ID records at least. Oh, right, I'd better check this now, as I was saying. What's this? A record of IDs. Edgeworth, you went into the evidence room that day, didn't you? Just before the incident occurred, no less. Yes, that's true. What? Mr. Edgeworth? Please don't look at me like that. I was asked to go by Chief Gant, no less. The Chief of Police. He wanted evidence for a case that wrapped up half a year ago. Told me he wanted me to keep it here in the prosecutor's office. But it was solved, right? It would have been, it would have to be if the evidence was already filed. Chief is never one to explain himself. In any case, on the day of the stabbings, I brought this back here. Can I ask what kind of case it is? I can't say. It really has nothing to do with the current case. Unrelated evidence, a screwdriver. Alright, we're just getting case upon case as spiderwebbing. Stubborn as always. I told you this has nothing to do with the current case. Why did you add it to your baggie of like case evidence? Which it's still unclear if it's physically a thing because we are manipulating half of this evidence, or we just like, I don't know. Do we have physical copies of every single one? Did we 3D print them? Like, how are we able to manipulate them and then present them to people? Like, did we just take pictures or what? Like 1 billion pictures? What is SL9 stuff? About that screwdriver. I guess not. I guess we'll just talk about the case. Allegations of forgery. The SL9 incident was a heinous serial killing case. The head of the investigation was the deputy chief of police at the time, Damon Gaunt. Oh, wacky old coot was involved in the case 2 years ago too, then. Everyone's involved. Everyone gets involved. Everyone has to be involved. He was the top officer, and it was my first time working with him. I was nervous. Wow, you get nervous too, Mr. Edgeworth. What I want to know is why was the deputy chief of police on the investigation? In truth, I used slightly more extreme methods than normal. We were dealing with a vicious murderer. If I let him go, the blood would be on my hands. We won our guilty verdict, and the killer was executed. Wait, you didn't? Of course not. I didn't touch the evidence. Yes, I will do anything in my power to win a trial. However, I do have a code, and I follow it faithfully. By the way, Emma, the chief prosecutor wanted to know something. My sister, what? If you were still studying forensic science, huh? Yeah, of course. Why, just today, Mr. Wright and I were using this. Luminol testing fluid. Well then, you might have use for this. Oh shit, we got new DS features, fingerprint checks. Aluminium powder for taking fingerprints. It's been chemically treated for better adhesion. For me, are you sure? We are the enemy, you know. I have no say in today's investigation, do as you will. Yeah, I mean, it's out of his hands now. It's the police department. He's just like, yo, right, you go do everything and present it, and we can toss ideas back and forth, you know, like a game of badminton. Edgeworth, I'm really no need to thank me. Here, take your powder and these fingerprint files for everyone involved. Wow, just everyone's fingerprints, huh? Thanks. How about giving these to Detective Gumshoe as well? No. Incompetence. Well, let's get going then to the investigation. I do remember seeing a suspicious handprint somewhere. Thanks, Edgeworth. Okay, you have nothing to say about it anymore. So how do I use this? Cover handprints, fingerprints from handprints for comparison with fingerprint file. Pom-pom. I mean, this is clearly just showing off the 3D tech. Because there's nothing to investigate on it. Alright. We can't openly use it everywhere, so I guess we have to go to specific handprint, fingerprint places. Sure would have been helpful to dust this on the wallet, but, you know. Bye, Edgeworth, I guess. Time to head back to the evidence lockers. Oh right, there's also the Blue Badger. Can I do it now? Or is it just gonna be like, oh, look at that janky animation? No, even though we can clearly see the handprint, we're not allowed to look yet. Which kind of still weird since we got it as a piece of evidence, even though it's unrelated. Like at least when we got the screwdriver, it was like, yeah, clearly unrelated, but I'm interested in the case, so I added it to the files. Rather than the Blue Badger, which is just we added it, and now you get this 3D animation every time you want to look at it. Congrats. Investigation turned up a suspicious handprint. Here, let's just use the weapon. Alright, let's get started. First, choose a finger. Each finger lives behind a slightly different imprint. So let's choose the finger we have left behind the clearest print. Can't really tell. Quit for task, creating and choose a finger. It's probably these ones. No? No? Alright. It's probably this one then. Because the thumb is a kind of sideways one. Let me show you how it's done. First, you sprinkle the powder here. Ah, looks like it did the trick. This powder is sprung, just blow away the excess. Just blow. See? Wow, that looks fun. Hey look, DS features from the Mike days. I hope you enjoy me blowing excessively into the mic, because that's how we gotta do it. We just gotta dust this cake real quick. You did it, you found one. This looks nothing like a fingerprint, huh? You mentioned that, I guess it doesn't. I think it means we're out of luck. The person who left this must have had gloves. Don't tell me you've been wasting our time. Calm down. There has to be something else. Why don't we look for other prints? Yeah, you know those ones I tried to investigate in the first place? The one in the bottom left? Thanks, tutorial still. That's enough. Hey, look, it's a real fingerprint. Wow. Yay, prints are clearly and dazzling. Anyways, the print looks took a lot of effort. Let's match it. Oh, we actually have to compare. Okay. Point to the person you think. How am I supposed to know who it is? I don't know. Let's make a guess. Well, the handprint and the fingerprints are in different places, right? That means the prints probably don't have anything to do with our case. So, who cares whose fingerprints it is? Alright, we got a spiral. That's that. Not good, man. Looks like gumshoe. Ding 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 ding! You got the max match on the power test at the carnival. Aha! So these prints belong to the gumshoe. Wrong. Gave me a so what? I guess that's probably because I was thinking so what. I mean, next time we'll know what to do. Come on. If I remember correctly, there was one other set of handprints. Whoa. The one over here. Whoa. First, are we allowed to get the footage for that day? Video evidence, it's making a recording of it. We could use the computer to check. Use the computer to check on who went in and out of there. Yeah, I'm trying to do that. So that we can get... You know, we're probably just gonna get shown it later. I guess. I mean, assuming they wouldn't let us move on from this without having all the evidence. Alright. There was a handprint here. Let's try. Jesus. Check for prints. I have to warn you about something. The area where the blood was wiped, right? We only ended up finding it using chemical means. Any prints in the area will have been wiped away too. Oh, right. So that means no prints. Would you say the probability of your hypothesis is high? Don't ask me. Anyway, we must try to find the prints that weren't wiped away. Prints other than the ones left by the bloody handprint. So what, like next to it, or what? I guess we'll go with this one. Select which finger to examine. This one? Select which finger to examine. It's probably one of the ones that isn't bloodied. Like one of these ones. That's not enough. How much do I have to dust this cake? Or is this just not a good print? Like, what are you trying to tell me? Alright. Sideways spiral. Sideways, like, pointies. Marshall. Hey, these fingerprints, whose are these? Who? Is this someone I know? It's Officer Marshall! Officer Jake Marshall. Fingerprints. That's gotta be a coincidence. He's not involved in the crime. Emma. This is decidedly different from Detective Gumshoe's prints. The luminol reaction, the blood, the fingerprints are in the same location. Oh. So we have Jake Marshall's fingerprints on a wiped bloodstain. But why would Officer Marshall? Looks like our investigation's finally turning up some results. Guess that's what you'd call decisive evidence. I don't believe it. Yeah, I'll believe it. Shit happens like this, man. Oh, it's trial day. Okay. Day 2. I guess day 1 of the real case. All right. So what do you think, Mr. Wright? I think the prosecution is confused. Is as confused as we are. Check. Oh. All right. After all, the victim was murdered in 2 different places at the same time, and a different suspect was arrested at each of the crime scenes. Lana! Good morning, Mr. Wright. I apologize for yesterday. I was indisposed. I hope they didn't hold you too long for questioning. We just finished, actually. I'm used to all-nighters, though. Oh, wow. Up until the time of trial, huh? So how'd it go? Just Mr. Wright suspects. The police are clueless. Figured as much, so I struck a plea bargain. What do you mean by that? We agreed that if I told them the truth behind this simultaneous murder, they wouldn't seek capital punishment. That's what I mean, Emma. But Lana, don't tell me you... Much to my regret, I'm as much in the dark about it as they are. This guy. We found trace evidence of a certain person in the police department's evidence room. They belong to Officer Jake Marshall. Kind of trace evidence. Bloodstained fingerprints, to be exact. Oh, serious face. That's the trump card I have up my sleeve today. You do understand what that means, don't you? In order to defend my sister, you're going to accuse Mr. Marshall. We have to play the cards we're dealt, isn't that right, Miss Skye? Do what you have to, Mr. Wright. We gotta extend the trial by accusing someone new. Throw him under the bus. Under the bus. Court time, 10 a.m. Court is now in session for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Defense big ready. Prosecution is... I'm afraid you'll have to clarify. It takes 30 minutes by car to reach the police department from the prosecutor's office. Yet the victim, Bruce Goodman, was slain at both places at the same time. But that's not physically possible, is it? What's more, I hear the victim from the evidence room just disappeared. Yes, and the body eventually reappeared in the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth. Wow, this is one messed up trial. One of my duties as prosecutor is to present impartial evidence. Today I will present evidence relating to the murder at the police department. In so doing, I believe the way in which we should proceed will reveal itself. Now that's what sets Mr. Edgeworth apart. He sounds so on top of things, even though he doesn't know what's going on himself. And that's supposed to be an admirable trait? Very well. Let the trial resume. On the day of the crime, what exactly transpired at the police department? Mr. Edgeworth, you may call your first witness of the day to the stand. For its first witness, the prosecution calls the suspect of the murder that occurred. Oh no. Here comes Meekins. The suspect? You mean the so-called murderer? Meekins about to blast my ears, even though I have him, like, I'm listening to him through headphones and, like, that are acting like earmuffs. Don't do that, Meekins. Will the witness please state his name and occupation?
Yes, sir. I'm Officer Mike Meekins, sir. My occupation is, that would be murderer, sir.
So you're telling us you're a professional killer?
Sir, it was me, sir. I'm the one who did it. I'll never kill anyone again, sir. Oh my god. You've got to believe me, sir.
Actually, what we'd like to hear from you is...
Sir, I'm what you call part of the younger generation, sir. A person whose actions adults can't possibly comprehend.
Please, Mr. Edwards, sir, help me, sir. Officer Meekins.
Yes, sir.
Give us your report of the crime. consider that an order.
Yes, sir. As you wish. After all, I am part of a generation that must be told what to do, sir.
Can't fault him for a lack of enthusiasm. What is this? Like meta speak?
Crime report, sir. Although it's not my normal duty, I was assigned to guard the evidence room that day. I spotted a suspicious man on the security screen and rushed into the room. I was only doing what I was trained to do, sir. I was suddenly attacked. I fought for my life, and then I did it. After that, I passed out until another officer smacked me awake.
Which, his dialogue is all over the place. He's like, oh, I passed out and then woke up in detention service. Oh, I passed out and when I woke up I was in the evidence room and the body was gone. Like, what's real? Like, I'm sure it's the one where he gets woken up in the thing, but why are you talking about as if you passed out for like 4 days? So the victim, Detective Goodman, attacked you.
Do unto others before they do unto you. That's the Meekins family motto, sir.
I see. Then you fainted and a colleague helped you regain consciousness.
Yes, sir. He knocked me upside the head, sir.
Very well. The defense may cross-examine.
What I need here is more info to work with. Although, not my normal duty, I was assigned guard. Mr. Meekins, you work in the General Affairs Department, do you not? The GAD.
Yes, sir. I am in charge of hiring new recruits, sir.
Yikes, now that's a scary thought. Evidence transfer was taking place on the day of the crime, which meant many officers were given special tasks not ordinarily performed.
I was in charge of guarding the Blue Badger, sir.
The Blue Badger?
Yes, sir. The lovely police mascot created by the Chief of Detectives, sir.
Oh no, don't show the animation.
I was to ensure it wasn't broken during the transferal process. That was my sole mission for the day, sir.
I see. Sounds like a very important mission.
After the award ceremony finished the day, there was so many people running around that I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room.
Oh, so that's why you went to the evidence room. Tell us, what did you see when you got there?
Sus. In order to enter the evidence room, you need an ID card, am I correct?
Precisely, sir. I have one right here around my neck.
So then, your ID number should be listed on here, right? Oh my god.
There it is. I found it. This is the one right here.
Could you please read us the number?
Yes, sir. It's 4989-596. That's my number, sir.
I see, huh. But the number 4989596 is shown as being used twice. Sus.
Please explain, witness.
It's no real mystery, sir. The first time is when I relocated the Blue Badger to the evidence room. And the second time is when I went to go get him after everything settled.
I see. So it was during the second time when...
Yes, sir. That was when a man was spotted in the security room.
Okay. So you were attacked. Can you please tell us exactly what happened to you?
It was a knife, sir. A knife.
Detective Goodman pulled a knife on you. What happened then?
Well, with me charging in on him like that, he looked as surprised as I was.
You aren't exactly the kind of person someone who would want to run into.
That's when I reacted, sir. I swung my arms like an octopus, struggling to detain him. That's how I got this gash on my right hand.
Or my hand, left hand. Maybe if you just kept your cool, your hand wouldn't be...
When I saw the blood trickling down my arm, I panicked. I grabbed the man by his collar. I fought for my life.
What exactly do you mean when you say you did it?
I know I don't look the type, but I'm really into kung fu films, sir. That man let his guard down for just an instant, so I snatched his knife from him.
You took his knife?
I spun around and performed a disarming maneuver. I made sure to close my eyes like a man.
I see. Must have been desperate.
The next thing I knew, his white coat was drenched in a sea of my blood. And then the next thing I knew,
Yes.
he punched me right in the face, sir.
Fucking. And then he passed out immediately.
Well, what time did you regain consciousness? No offense, sir, but how am I supposed to know that? I was unconscious.
Oh, right. According to the report from the officer that woke him up, it was about 5:30.
He hit me right in the head, too. I woke up crying tears of pain.
That's nice. I mean, it's nice that you recovered, that is.
When I came round, though, I made sure to finish my mission, sir.
Your mission?
Yes, sir, the Blue Badger, sir. I returned him to the entrance just before things got out of hand.
Well, we can all rest easy now. But if you now have a fairly accurate picture of what happened, yes, Your Honor, only one thing remains clear. Was the man this officer murdered really the victim? It's got a point. Yes, Officer Meekins.
With regard to that, sir, take a look at this.
Oh, hey, it's a security tape.
It was sent to my jail cell, sir. Chief Gunn delivered it to me this morning, sir.
The chief delivered it? What is that? A videotape?
Yes, sir. That's absolutely right, sir. A videotape, sir. Contains footage from the security camera in the evidence room.
It's still a VHS tape. What? But I specifically asked if there was such a tape, and was told it had been mistakenly erased. That's quite a mistake.
I just do what I'm told, sir. It's the only thing I'm really good at.
Looks like communication with the police department is as good as ever. Well then, let's have a look. Give us a video of you murdering the victim.
Oh, please stop using the word murder, sir. It's scary.
You just said you were a professional murderer. Video of a real murderer. Just what are we getting ourselves into? Let's see these sick ninja moves he pulls. Hi, Blue Badger. Why is the security camera so low? Who puts a security camera at waist level? How are you supposed to see anyone's face? Well, a paper fell out, and there's Meekins. Like, actually, who positions a security camera here? Like, it's like on a tripod, like you're filming your, like, son's graduation. Oh, we didn't get to see his ninja moves. We did see, like, a blood splatter appear on, quote, Goodman's, jacket for a second. Even Edgeworth is like, what the fuck? Well, I believe we're all thinking the same thing. How can we deal with these unsettling feelings stirred within us? What the hell was that wriggling piece of plywood?
Sir, that's the pride and joy of our central, entire criminal affairs department, sir. It's the Blue Badger, sir.
Why am I not surprised this isn't going smoothly? Oh my god, do I have to watch the whole thing if I want to look for evidence? Yes, well, anyway, this tape seems to prove that the witness did indeed encounter someone in the evidence room, and some sort of activity did take place. Your Honor, instead of relying on clearly incompetent footage, the witness's testimony will suffice. Is that alright with you, Officer Meekins?
Yes, sir, as you wish, sir.
Mystery Man.
Face can't be clearly seen in the video, but there's no question that the other person was Detective Goodman, sir. I mean, he opened the locker, which required Detective Goodman's fingerprints to do. The locker he opened is unquestionably Detective Goodman's locker, sir. So it must be him. No one else could have unlocked it.
What's this about a fingerprint? Each detective has been given a locker equipped with a fingerprint-activated lock. These locks ensure that each locker can only be opened by the detective it belongs to. Intriguing. That would mean the victim at the crime scene would have to have been Detective Goodman. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. I don't know if this will lead, but everything begins with contradiction, so that's where I do. The Mystery Man. Tell me, were you able to get a good look at him? At the face of the man who attacked you with a knife?
Sir, if you must have labeled people as having seen or not seen the man's face, I believe I would be classified as the latter.
The latter, but you were standing right in front of him, were you not? More to the point, you are the person who fought him, aren't you?
Yeah, oh yes, sir, but I didn't get a clear look at his face, sir. I'm not the kind of guy who looks directly at people when talking with them, you see.
Yeah, that's a good trait for a police officer. Ow.
Still, I'm sure it was him. I'd bet my badge on it.
Don't do that. But you don't know that for sure. You never actually saw Goodman's face.
Well, I suppose you might say that. That is, if you must label people having seen or not seen it.
Since the face can't be identified in the video, only you can verify it, idiot.
Well, why is everyone looking at me? If I had to label your stares as disturbing or...
Meekins, shut the fuck up. Having been shown a questionable video at best, we are not in the best of moods. Now please be more certain when you testify.
Yes, sir.
You claimed the man who brandished the knife on you was Bruce Goodman. Tell us why you are positive it was him.
He opened the fingerprint locker.
There are ways of obtaining that shit. Or if someone blocked the thing from closing properly, then you could just open it. But these lockers, is there no other way to open them?
No, sir. I tried myself all kinds of methods in the past. They only respond to registered fingerprints, sir.
I wonder what kind of methods he's tried. If the man who opened the locker, which only responds to its registered fingerprints, then he must be the person the locker was assigned to.
Exactly my point, sir, and this too.
Yeah, that's true, it is Goodman's locker. How do you know that information?
I've heard rumors, sir, from the people in the know, sir.
People in the know?
The workers in the department cafeteria, sir. They keep me informed. They also listen to my romantic troubles, sir.
For the record, the opened locker did indeed belong to Detective Goodman. I verified this information through a more reliable source. So the victim opened the locker with his own fingerprints.
So it must be him.
However, the most important detail is not shown in the video, the man's face.
So, sir, if I may say something, sir.
Please do, after all, you are the one being examined.
I don't understand why the man's face is so important in this case, sir. I mean, it was his hand that opened the fingerprint lock, and it was his hand that tried to thrust his knife into my body, sir. My unsettled state can testify enough to this, sir.
Yes, you have a point. The footage doesn't lie. That is, unless the defense can find a problem with it. Let's check the court records again. Is there a problem with the security video? Go look at it. Do I have a way of speeding this up, or what? I have to wait through like 30 seconds of this? Seriously, who installed this police, like, cam like this? Yeah, paper falls out. And that white cloth is isn't out yet. Slashes him, and he's cut. That's a lot of blood for like 1 second of slashing to appear on his jacket. Like that guy does. Like that guy was just a human fruit gusher, just fucking everywhere. All right, and then he slumps down, I guess. All right, it's just gonna loop. Okay. I mean, something fell out of his locker, I guess would be a problem. It means that it wasn't closed properly. Yeah. Regarding the tape contained in the video, there is one thing in particular that seemed rather strange. The man may not have been Detective Goodman. What? A video contains such a contradiction. Objection! Interesting. Your Honor, I have a proposal. I propose we have the defense point out to us the alleged contradiction in the video. Oh hey, am I gonna get a video timeline now? Very well. Proposal accepted. Let us further investigate this piece of evidence. I will now play the security tape. Mr. Wright, please show us the contradiction you speak of. I have to point out a problem in the video. It's the first time I've ever had to do this. It's like a new feature on the DS.
You can do it, Mr. Wright. It's set up so you can oh my god, they gave us control as well.
Let's take a good look and be sure to point out the right thing.
Please don't play it too many times. I can't stand watching this video.
How did this guy ever become a police officer? Now then, Mr. Wright, please enlighten us. Where is the contradiction? It's probably the light. Like it was like the light is red. Like it means that it wasn't closed properly.
Take that!
The thing that's strange about this video has got to be this. Officer Meekins?
Sir, do you mean me, sir?
As I understand it, the locker apparatus works like this. When you grab the handle, the sensor reads your fingerprints if it's a match. The light turns on, the lock is released.
According to my very limited experience, that's the way I understand it, sir.
If so, then something is seriously wrong with this picture. It's slowed into slow motion again. Do 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 do. When the victim reaches for the handle to open the lock, let's rewind a little earlier. Could you not have pointed it out before that? I don't know, man. It's already lit. Here, notice the light? What's this? It's already lit. It's lit, fam. The old man, it is lit, fam. Precisely my point, Your Honor. The locker was already open before the victim grabbed it. Ah! Order, order, what is the meaning of this? Very simple, Your Honor. The locker wasn't locked on the day of the crime.
Objection!
But the locker locks are controlled by an electronic system. When the door is shut, a sensor is triggered. The locker is automatically locked. Oh, I know. It must have been broken down. It must have broken down. Of course, I'm not an expert in this. That's not likely, sir, Your Honor. The sensor would detect or report any malfunction. Oh, well, it just goes to show novices should keep their mouths shut. So then, Mr. Wright, do you have an explanation? Me, Your Honor? Yes, why isn't the locker locked? Me, Your Honor? Yes, well, you see, that isn't exactly my field. What do you think, Miss Scientific Investigator? Huh? Oh, maybe something like jam the system sensor. Something jam the sensor, you say? There's something else that seems out of place in the video. Yeah, I thought so too. There's gotta be another clue in the footage. The locker wasn't locked. Pointed to the cause. It's the thing that fell out. Wow. What's this thing? I wonder if it detects every frame that it's in. Please watch closely. This is the continuation of the part I showed you earlier. Oh my god. This really pads out the time on a speed run, huh? Of course, for this kind of game, there's like a max like time you can get based on all like loading times and dialogue trees and clicky taps. There's no like shaving time off unless you actually glitch out a visual novel game. Something white fell out of the locker.
But sir, it's been my experience that things fall out when doors open.
I often fall out of... We can't be sure. The item was completely inside the locker to begin with.
What do you mean?
The sensor triggered the lock when the door is shut. What if something was inserted, say, between the sensor and the door? Inserted? Must use such lewd words, right? The white thing wasn't inside the locker. It was stuck between the door and the sensor.
Oh, I understand now, sir. It's just like my tie. 2 out of 3 times to get stuck in the door when I get out of my patrol vehicle, sir. Instead of the door closing, my tie chokes me.
But the object would have to be extremely thin to fit the door. Not only that, it would also have to block electrical currents. It would need to be an insulator. You mean like a glove? Yes, an insulator, but at the scene of the crime, there just might have been something that fits that description.
But sir, the insulator you don't mean.
I think I figured it out. You better present that evidence. This case is so much more just like, do the thing instead of like, yo, solve it. It's like, okay, here's a glove. I found this near the locker, a thin rubber glove. But we can't be sure that wasn't the victim's locker. It has the tag SL9 incident. Video seems to depict the victim open the locker, but there isn't the case. The lit lamp attests to that. On the day of the crime, even I could have opened that locker. Is that not so, Officer Meekins?
Sir, it would appear so, sir. Embedded video game, sir.
Order? So are we to believe that the victim, whom this witness stabbed in the evidence room, was not Detective Goodman?
Objection!
Do not be misled, Your Honor. What do you mean, Mr. Edgeworth? The defense has merely demonstrated the possibility and nothing more. The victim in the video was indeed Bruce Goodman. The prosecution will offer one more testimony to prove this. What? Officer Meekins, please testify about this.
Sir, me, sir? I'm not sure what you're referring to, sir. Oh, you mean that, sir? Of course, sir.
Is this a joke? Where will begin your testimony? Okay.
Mr. Man. One thing that proves the man was Detective Goodman, sir. To enter the evidence room, one must use this ID card. When an ID is used, there's record of it. At the time of the crime, the detective had used this card.
That doesn't prove anything! I have his card. Are you saying I am now Detective Goodman? Like, it's so disproved by me physically having Detective Goodman's card on me. Like, what do you mean? An ID card record, I see. I have the ID card record right here, sir. Yeah, from me. From me, right? It's me. From me, the right, not you, the Edgeworth. At 5:14, it's the victim's. Just before the crime, yeah, without that, that's the victim's ID. However, it's kind of sus. Several hundred cases should have been due for transferal. Why is there only a few people using the room? Particular evidence room is only used for storing certain cases. Special cases. Extremely violent cases involving police staff. Just hearing that makes my hair stand on end. Me too, but it doesn't make much difference, damn. Spiky hair. There were only a few cases up for transferal there, and most were cleared up by noon. Alright, I see. Now let us move on to the cross-examination. Like, I literally have the card. I could just be like, I have it. This proves nothing. This is such a, like, shitty argument. It's so bad. So unlike your earlier testimony, you believe this to be rock solid.
Yes, sir. Solid as stone, sir. My hand wasn't wrapped in bandage. I'd give the V for victory sign, sir.
You have another hand. Couldn't he use his right hand for that? Yeah. Let's just hear him out fully. As we've seen, one never knows what he might say until the very last second. To enter the evidence, there's also a lot more, like, I just go down pressing him, and then the game automatically is like, oh, that's kind of a weird thing you just said, like, automatically, instead of me pointing out a piece of evidence. Alright. You must have the ID card. I have the ID card. There's a card hanging from the neck of one of these ID cards.
Yes, sir. The card right next to my cuffs, sir. I keep it here so I won't ever forget.
What if someone were to steal it from you, keeping it out in the open like that?
Maybe I shouldn't wear it around my neck. Remember when I said 2 out of 3 times my tie gets stuck when I get out of the car? Well, the remaining time it's my ID card that gets stuck. Instead of the door closing, my ID chokes me.
Maybe we should just leave this alone. At any rate, each police only has 1 ID. Both the police department and the prosecutor office can attest to this. It does record it. Let it be noted that this is the record the witness referred to. Let me see. Yes, that would be Detective Goodman.
What's the matter?
According to this, Mr. Edgeworth, your name is on here. Bows. So it is, Your Honor. What about it? Everyone's upset. It would seem the Inquiry Committee will want to speak with you again today. I have nothing to be ashamed of regarding my actions or their consequences. For now, let us continue with this cross-examination.
Poor Mr. Edgeworth. It must be so difficult for him.
Alright, use this card. Earlier, I believe you testified that when you asked the man to show his ID card, he pulled a knife on you.
Yes, sir. He didn't show me any ID card, sir.
Don't you think that's odd? I mean, if he had his ID card, all he had to do was show it to you. There wouldn't have been any reason to draw a knife. He keeps hitting his, like, injured hand. Like, I don't understand what he's doing.
Maybe he panicked?
Everything stems from contradictions. Let's point them out. Confused. Problem with the ID testimony is it's far too obvious. It's not like Edgeworth to miss something like that. Is this bait? Is Edgeworth baiting me?
They're fucking baiting me.
Alright. Here's one other thing that the guard was Detective Goodman. To enter, you must have the ID card. When an ID card is used, time of the crime, the detective used his card. One must use their ID card. ID card is used as a... Honestly, to test this theory, all we had to do was use Goodman's card when we tried to enter the evidence room. And then see if it recorded as Detective Goodman. Like, if it worked, then it means anyone could have used it. Alright, to enter the evidence room, one must use the ID card. When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time, the detective used his card. Do I just literally present Goodman's card? Which one of these statements, though? When an ID card is used, there's a record of it. At the time of the crime, detectives... I guess this one? Because the line, the detective used his card, but I have the card, means that the detective might not have had his card? Is that what it wants me? I have the card.
Objection!
Wait one moment, Officer Meekins.
I'm not good at waiting, sir.
I have the victim's ID card right here. I found it at the crime scene. That makes sense. When I say crime scene, I'm not referring to the evidence room. I mean the other crime scene. The underground parking lot. Edgeworth isn't even fighting. He's just like, He's like so done with this case. He's just like, Wright, just solve it for me, please. I want to go home. Your Honor, I have one more piece of evidence to present. It's a very important clue. Oh, it's automatically doing it. Okay. Regarding the victim's card, a lost item report. It's only half completed, but it shows that Detective Goodman has lost something on the day of the crime. Something important enough to file out this report. Let me guess. You believe this something to be his ID card, right? Can't say for sure, but there is a high probability. On the day of the crime, Detective Goodman was not carrying his card. Order? So now what does this all mean? It can only mean one thing. It doesn't even require much thought. The man Officer Meekins encountered in the evidence room was not Detective Goodman, but rather the man who stole his ID card. Alright, is this where Edgewood is like, haha, I baited you, haha. I only have one thing to say to the defense. Bravo, Mr. Wright. Bravo. Allow me to surmise the defense's argument. At 5:15 on the day of the crime, the man in the evidence room Officer Meekins encountered was not Detective Goodman. There are two grounds to support this. First, the locker in the evidence room was already unlocked. Second, the victim lost his ID card. What correct so far, Mr. Wright? Yeah, what's he up to? That being the case, we might inevitably arrive at a single conclusion. If the victim in the video is a fake, then the murder in the evidence room is also fake. In other words, the security camera does not show the instance of the murder. That is, well... Oh, is this a roundabout way of, like, proving that the evidence room isn't even a murder and that, Lana Skye did do the actual murder? Is that why he's so smug? There's something wrong, Mr. Wright. Only moments ago you seemed to be pointing your finger around. This isn't gonna end well. Well. Seems you finally realized exactly what you've gone to such lengths to prove. Explain yourself, Miss Edgeworth. The defense has already done the explaining for me. The victim in this video is a fake, which means the murder did not take place at the police department at 5:15. So the real crime could only take place at one location, the underground parking lot, at the prosecutor's office, the murderer being Miss Lana Skye, the defendant. The evidence is compelling. Trustworthy witness observed the moment the defendant used the murder weapon. All you did was dig yourself a hole in finding the truth. I knew that testimony was too shabby. It was all a trap. The activity in the evidence room may still leave many unanswered questions. Who exactly was the victim Officer Meekins encountered? And where did this person disappear to? However, this trial's purpose is to determine the murder, examine the murder of Detective Goodman. Just so, Your Honor. That's right, you have to do something else, Your Honor. What do I do? How am I supposed to get myself out of this mess? Object. I mean, there's nothing else I can do. One moment, Your Honor. What now, Mr. Wright? Don't tell me you're objecting to what you've just proven. No. But I almost walked right into the prosecution's trap. What are you talking about? The cross-examination has proven one thing and one thing only. The security video did not actually show the murder. Okay, we're slow panning. Oh, in that pan away, the shirt appeared in the thing. However, it cannot be said that it's unrelated to the murder. At the end. Specifically, large amounts of blood traces were found in the evidence room. The defense demands further examination into the truth of the matter. Mr. Edgeworth? Yes, Your Honor. The court were to examine this further. Other witnesses will be necessary. Is the prosecutor prepared? Sorry, Your Honor. The prosecution considered the incident at the police department to be unrelated. We have not prepared any other witness for this incident. This just might be my chance. Time to call a certain Texas Ranger to the stand. Mr. Wright, do you mean... Your Honor, the defense would like to request a specific witness. Oh, whom do you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well, Mr. Wright. This person whom you have testified, what is his or her name? It's Jake Marshall. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? Can't let Edwards know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. Prosecution agrees to the defense request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need any longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Okay. Very well. The court will now take 30 minutes in research while the witness is subpoenated. Subpoenated. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. Date. Bam. Cool. Do. Alright. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. Seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. She's like, damn, you're so smart, right? And I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about? Alright. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright's trying his hardest to protect you. Like you're just being a bitch. Oh my god. Withholding info. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. You did! You requested me after I was like, you and Mia are very in common, except you're an attorney and not a defense attorney. And then you were like, oh wait, go file your records. You asked for me. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? Let's fade back in. You got a lot of nerve, pal, make a detective run around on duty. And top it off, you call me here? I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, Detective. You better be, pal. Hey. I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay, so have you brought what I asked? Oh, You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident. But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought him here. Here. You might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the Chief Prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Oh, wow. He was a witness in the case, wow. Everyone witnessing. Everyone involved. All these new OCs involved. Miss Sky was a witness. God, am I gonna have to read through this? Take it from me, you don't want to do anything with you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now you brought your stuff, you're just gonna go back to ignoring me? Yeah, Emma, but... Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there, I don't know, unless... No, it couldn't be Lana. The SL9 incident, is that... That's the police classification number filed. Is it your parents' murder? Is that gonna be it? Is it your parents' murder? Is... Alright. That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world know it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark. No, Lana. That's over with. No! Runs away. Oh, wait, she ran away. You know what? I just remembered I gotta be somewhere. Sorry, pal. I'm out of here. Jake Marshall. Angel Starr. Damon Gaunt. Miles Edgeworth. Not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in the case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. Can't be coincidence. Knowing you might be able to figure it all out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. Better take a good look at this file. Yeah, better. Holy shit. It's gotta draw. Here, solve 2 cases in one. Like it's not like in the other one where it was like everyone was like slowly, gradually involved. This is just like, yo, solve this second case, which I guess is supposed to be the theme of it, because here we have 2 killings similar to each other, paralleled, and it's just like, yeah, just solve 2 cases at the same time, kind of like how this case is 2 cases at the same time. Just do it. Just do it. The court is now reconvened for the trial of Miss Lana Skye. Emma didn't come back. Is she gonna run all the way to get evidence? Is that what's gonna happen? Like, is it framing as a dramatic, like, oh no, I hate it, oh, it's the murder of our parents, wow. And then it's gonna be actually like, I brought 1 piece of evidence from that case that I kept. I'm gonna call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. Witness, please state your name and occupation. Just keep sipping. Me, partner. Oh, I'm just a man, same as you wandering the trials of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime that took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. Day of crime. My job was keeping a wary eye on the bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at Street Side Saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time to hit a trail. Hit a trail. It also seems like, I don't know, man. A lot of these is like, press, and then the last line, it's like, oh, here you go, do the thing. And it's like, okay. It seems a lot more automatic, this case. Like, it actually is like an entire tutorial built around here are the new features for the DS games. And less about, like, solving things yourself, kinda. I don't know. Anyway, I can't particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I particularly care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security system and the ID card readers. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yeah, so what about the fingerprint-activated locks? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those? It's not being very helpful. It's not that good with machines or following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. The Bone Orchard, the graveyard. How exactly do you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still. Even our time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the records. You interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When time will come, I'd erase the tape. Nothing unusual is recorded. Tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy's a flair for dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperado I know joins the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set a foot in the evidence room that day. There's a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in the crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? You used to be a detective, so you used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a goldmine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how bike works. It's quite incredible. The sensor on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Well, they mentioned that Detective Gumshoe says something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us about what you were doing when it took place? What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunch can beat the pilot's Von Gold sepia pasta. You mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edward says, "Did you not want a raise this year?" Nah, that's only for Gumshoe. Alright. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall. That's right, partner. Or as y'all call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you'd just be wasting my time. My steel horse is still waiting to carry me back into the sunset. One thing seems clear: despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the eyewitness doesn't have to appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. You're from California. Apparently Superiors don't. I got a trump card. Before I use it, though, I better ante up. I mean... Medicine, so if you're out of ammo, it's time to hit the trail. I'm assuming we presented on this line. I was down the street. I'm an innocent man, so if you don't have ammo, hit the trail. Well, here's my ammo.
Objection!
Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called to testify like this. After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime, and yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. I wonder what his surprise reaction is going to be. Like, he's just going to spit take his alcohol flask. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. To be exact, handprint. This is real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be there.
Objection!
I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your bloodstained fingerprints were at the crime scene. Blood was wiped away, however. Luminol tests clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall. About that bloodstained fingerprints. Them bloodstained fingerprints. Begin your testimony, found at the scene of the crime, your fingerprints, what up? Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloody handprint. The murderer touched the locker with my fingerprints by chance. The bloodstain and the fingerprints are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See, I had nothing to do with it. No one mentioned gloves. We didn't know about gloves until we tested it ourselves. So I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Witness explanation is valid. There is room for doubt, though. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. Defense may not cross-examine. This guy's hiding it. Sus. Sus. Time to go down the list.
Hold it!
That's because you, how do you do it? How do you put it? Pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. Dad, and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That locker I used when I was a detective, the locker I still use. But all that's in there now is a heap of broken dreams. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from the locker programming, though. Must have been using the fingerprint lock at the time without even knowing it. Updated. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the bloody fingerprint perfectly? Oh, so... That's crazy. That's crazy. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine, no mystery. My locker is covered in my fingerprints. Just so happened to perfectly line up. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. You wouldn't believe how crazy it was. What? The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. One on the contrary. One could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? Bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated.
Hold it!
Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kinda like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast while the other's a type of murder. Although, he's right, although seemingly alike, they're totally different. What? Sir, what? I don't know see what homonyms have to do with this. Or did you know the murderer was wearing gloves? No, we didn't actually.
Hold it!
How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was bloodstain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It's found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected in the handprint. Yeah, we tried that. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to be placed their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Yeah, okay.
Are you starting to get the picture, partner? Picture. Seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. There's only one reality, and that's this. As long as my trail ain't there, you can't say otherwise. I mean... Alright, but I mean, I already know the answer. Continue to testimons. Too bad it wasn't you in the video, right, partner? What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to the crime, ain't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. But that video is next to you, so it's full of blind spots. Places can't see. Camera panning back and forth, the floor isn't shown. Someone familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught.
Objection!
We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you show us evidence in the video that indicates Officer Marshall was present... Okay. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Miss Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Wright, or you might wind up making the one making the mistake. Let's have another look. Dun, 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 dun. If you see, there's nothing at this locker, and then right at the end, after the fight, there's a crumpled white shirt. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Take that!
Bringing our attention back to the security camera. A mistake I'm afraid you'll never soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Alright, very well. You can clearly be seen in this videotape. Exactly 8 words, not bad, partner. Key lies in certain locker shown in the video. Also, I added an extra word, so it was 9. Whoopsie. This locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now let's rewind a bit. No, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, it wasn't there, and then suddenly it appeared. Only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker with the camera was turned away. It would seem that that's the only... hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. The sword of my locker was open. That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the lock and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? Bro, we were talking about this when you were here. This guy's isn't playing dumb. He really doesn't know. He lacks the critical information. Hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person that can open that. Yeah, I call your bluff. You say I opened the locker, prove it. I mean, I just have to present the evidence locker itself, right?
Take that!
Fingerprint sensor? Oh, he's sweating. We talked about this earlier. The locker can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. Well, what kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. They aren't obvious. Some people forget that they are there. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Oh, he's tearing beef jerky. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Oh, he got shot. Bang. Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I ever heard. I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. And then please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Olay, please answer the... Don't fucking... What is he now, a bullfighter? That's right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can. Have a look at the floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. That's so. Where was a witness? Seems Mr. Wright is an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? He was the victim.
Take that!
Officer Marshall was standing right there. But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. I wonder if that stab wound is healed and you're not hiding it under your poncho.
Objection!
It is preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the scene of the crime. Once he saw the man's face, he over. Edgeworth. We went over this. We found it super absurd that the guy didn't actually look at his face, and then he was like, "I don't look at people's faces. It scares me."
Objection!
I point out that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. Why did you play the pit feedback noise on that replay, but on the other ones? Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had an ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. The answer's simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on an ID. Yeah, that's how IDs work. Oh, I get it. If he had shown this, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins wouldn't have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. You have anything to say, Officer Marshall? Got quite an imagination, partner. You got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective, unless you have hard evidence to prove I dressed up as a victim. Can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. Can't say I care for your beard. Do you have beyond a shadow of a doubt that he dressed up as the victim? I mean, unless Emma went to go get the jacket in the locker, that's gonna kind of be hard to do. Seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. This can't be happening. It's so obvious. Huh. Oh, hey, Edgeworth, did you get it? Did you get it? Looks like your lack of experience is finally being exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I started out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics. For me, that would be what Mia used to tell. Try thinking outside the box. Shouldn't look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise, but rather I should look for evidence about what that came about because he was disguised. Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open the locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance he might be discovered later on. He didn't originally plan to open his locker, according to the defense argument. Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for unknown reasons. The fact this white cloth sticking out of the end indicates he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. Just what is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is key to the unanswered question. Once again, watch the video. Very well, pointed out why he had to open his locker, because it's covered in blood. Do I really have to baby steps this? Like, this is the most, like, infuriating case. Alright, look, there's blood. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, even though I don't know what end to end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. Bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you are happy now, Miss Edgeworth. 2 years ago, you were only half as persistent then as you are today. We all wouldn't have to be here right now would we? Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did, all of it. Alright, seems the time has come. This is about SL9 again? Is that how be? I had to do it that day. I couldn't stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. That's really you. But there's one thing I don't understand. Traces of large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence.
no one was murdered, how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. I guess he's the donor. There's too much blood for such a small donation.
Hold it!
When you say it, you mean... Do you even have the S, partner? SL9. 2 years have passed since that case closed. It was gonna completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I had anything to say with it. That incident's not over. What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only the case lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time, no matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner, that case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't the one in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much? The day was my last chance. That's why. Is it gonna turn out that another victim of the serial killers was your, like, someone? Is that what we want? Is that the truth? Why do you disguise yourself? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why he was filling it out. I returned his ID card, left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could, just because a rubber glove just happened to be stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall.
Hold it!
Dude. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off. Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins, certainly a 1 in a million type person, mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to show his ID. I'll have to think a little more about his raise this year. When did Edwards get this much influence? Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had turned out that way, with me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Ah, you mean this one? I don't know what to say. Damn, the one he's shaving himself with constantly. So you knocked out Officer Meekins. I hope you cleaned it before shaving. So did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference though. The security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat and struggled with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my lock and stashed him there. What was he doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a babe. So he's saying is on that day. Wasn't no murder. Blood found at the scene of the crime indicates that a crime took place. Are you blind? The victim shown on the tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, nah, I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Search with. Where's that evidence? Still missing, Your Honor. Well, that's not good. That means that whoever's ID is 77777 is probably the one that took it. Very sus. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall. Oh, who could it be? Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether to answer or not. Why'd you do this? Stealing a detective's ID, injuring a police officer? No small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. I can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution.
like I said, this isn't your case, this one's mine. I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. Witness has an unusual amount of zeal, let's hear more. I just can't forget the SL9 incident, you know why? Let's read these case files, actually. The Dark Killings. Closed. Perpetrator Joe Dark. Sentenced to death. Serial murder. The victims. Edward Jones. Edith Kirby. Oh no, not Kirby. Oh, there you go. Neil Marshall. There. I guess it's his brother. Jason Knight. Rachel Moss. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses Lana and Emma Skye. Executive investigators Lana Skye and Damon Gaunt. Head investigator Bruce Goodman. Investigators Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. Well, there you go. His brother was, or his dad or something. His son? Who knows?
Hold it!
Well, the case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence locker. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for certain is he certainly deserved a sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murder, didn't it? I don't tend to complain much about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. I don't know, that's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think is his real reason. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here was related to that case. Better take another look at my files. Alright, so I guess on that, I can't forget it. You know why? Yeah, here you go. It's the... is it gonna ask me for a page? It's page 2.
Objection!
Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident files right here. The name, Marshall, isn't mentioned in here. And a list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the name. 2 years ago, he received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? A prosecutor? You must be talking about the King of Prosecutors award. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 incident before I did. Oh, he got murdered mid-trial? Damn. Big reps. That's right, he was killed and the case fell into your hands. What's his relation to you? He was my brother. Oh shit, hat off! Oh shit, it's Silva from what from that one anime. The Shaman Kings. Yeah. He was my brother. He was investigating the murders. He's got the same like cowboy motif as his older brother. He was investigating the murders with Damon Gaunt, the then Deputy Chief of Police. The group of detectives I was working part of worked under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Oh, well that sure looks like a big murderman. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That was the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. Who is that? Arraigned and incarcerated. Arraigned? I've never seen that word. Case is finally closed, at least according to public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than anyone. No one could fight. Could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it? That's your reason for your insane actions? It's more to my brother's death than what the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. At least one thing's for certain, now we know what happened to the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with resolution, Officer Marshall's planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, and so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has been cleared up. No murder took place at the police department that day. Thing that
happen by chance never ceased to amaze me. At exactly the same time as murder at the prosecutor's office, this fake murder was happening at the police department. Chance? It's gotta be more than that. So if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder in the prosecutor's office parking lot was the real one. Which in turn means that only one person could have done it. Chief Prosecutor Lana Sky.
Objection!
But wait, a verdict wasn't reached in yesterday's trial.
Objection!
Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. You got to remain a mystery of the simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to me the boys got the draw on you, partner. All the mysteries of the police department have been resolved, no doubt about it. No, we're missing an ID and the evidence was missing, so that's also sus. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office. The only suspect is Lana Sky, and the testimony of Miss Angel Star is completely uncontestable. If you have a response, make it a single word or less. I rest my case. Damn. Seems the trial's reached its conclusion, no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on security tape was really fake, but I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Whoopsie. Now then, time for verdict has finally arrived. The court finds the defendant. Hold it. Who said that? Hey, it's Emma. Yeah, Your Honor, wait. Emma, the defense has an objection, a scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright, are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor, in a sense. Please, Your Honor, all I'm asking for is a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Thanks, Edgeworth. I was kind of in shock. I mean, finding out the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Oh, so were these two the witnesses to the murder of Neil, then? Is that what the thing happened? Now that she mentions it, the name of both Sky Sisters were in the file, but that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marsh was trying to do that day. So I knew his fingerprints had nothing to do with the crime. That the only one thing left was the other handprint. You mean the traces of blood found in Detective Gumshoe's locker. But no fingerprints were found on this, right? No, but I figured it, if I examined it scientifically, I'd be sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. You find something? No. Oh, good. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood were the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them, please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone could save Lana, it's you. Thanks for believing in me and not Edgeworth this time. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright, with regard to the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears the defense is troubled by the other blood markings. Looking at the floor plan, a fingerprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be of more use. But still, if you could find anything wrong with the blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer my question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with the handprint on Detective Gumshoe's locker? Could there be something I'm missing? I mean, I can't not say there is. I have to figure it out, like, on the fly after that.
Objection!
This handprint left at the scene of the crime clearly shows a contradiction. And we're just like, you're so bullshitty. But then you bullshit, and then you actually figure it out, and that's what's scary about you. The only thing that seems to be clear is you're grasping, Mr. Wright. I'm staring pretty intently at those floor plans. What is there a problem with them? Yeah, it's strange. Take a look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? You mean something hasn't been drawn on there? Yes, something that, when drawn, will completely change the meaning of this blood mark. Let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all the evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. Question is, which hand can prove something missing from It's Blue Badger. It's in the middle of the fucking video camera, guys. Guys, please. It's so obtrusive. How did you forget? What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when you put him here. This is where he was dancing at the time of the crime. Well, what? That's right. So long as Blue Badger's dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint at the spot in the locker. What? So that means, what exactly does that mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on the locker. Don't look at me. I didn't put it there. Mr. Wright, think it through scientifically. On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger to the evidence room, right? After you put it down, it would be impossible to have leave a handprint on that locker. So that must mean the blood mark was left there before the Blue Badger was brought in. Just a moment, I will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in this courtroom. Bro, we had like ghost murders the other day. We had simultaneous murders now. What do you mean balderdash? Question mark. May sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, blood was spilled not once but twice. One time was captured on this tape, taken by security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, on which the trivial amount of blood was fell. Problem was the other time. Someone bled prior to the struggle shown on the tape. It had to have been. It had to have been Detective Goodman when he was really murdered.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim.
Objection!
Fuck you. The murder portrayed in the security tape may have been proven to be false. However, that does not explain the blood mark found in the locker.
Objection!
So then, assuming this murder you report really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? Probably whenever 7777 came in. To summarize, the defense claims that, prior to the meeting of Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in the evidence room. That's right, the blood mark on the locker proves it. Very well. Tell us, when did this first occur? As Miss Edric said, proof must be presented. There's only one piece of evidence that can show that. What shows when the first incident occurred? It's the ID record. It's wherever 777 is. The crime took place inside the evidence room where the killer would have entered. In order to do so, an ID would have been required. The ID thing. It's whoever 777. Officer Meekins brought the Blue Badger into the evidence at panel. Let's see, 450. The crime took place before that. 440. Oh no, it's Edgeworth. Mr. Edgeworth, what have you done? I never would have figured you had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. Clearly from the luminal blood test that was here, however, when the second crime took place, both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood was wiped from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have had 10 minutes to murder the victim and carry his body away. Clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have taken place before Miss Edric entered the room. Instead of 10 minutes, 20 minutes would have made it plausible. Whoa. Let's look at the chart again. Who else could it have been? It's only one other card. 7 sevens. Talk about a lucky number. Wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room if he was with the other person? Hello? Judge is so... I don't even know who he's supposed to fill in. Is it like cause Gumshoe fills in the role of like Dumbo. Why is the judge even here as like the Dumbo too? Is it because Gumshoe can't be there all the time?
Since there's no record of this card being used beforehand, he must have entered along with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went in with 77777. Mr. Edron, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose ID is 77777777. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Unfortunately, I'm unable to look at it, at least at present. What? Explain yourself, son. The ID number 7777777 belongs to someone with a rank of captain or higher. Someone who is so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity.
Objection!
That's ridiculous. I'm not finished talking, right? There's one situation in which we can grant such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all like, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. Fuck you guys.
Objection!
I take pride in my own work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate if you keep your slander to yourself. Slander, is it? Okay, let me ask you a question. No, not to you. To her, the defendant sitting over there. Your own little executive. Lana?
Objection!
Don't be stupid. She's been charged with murder. Of course we've looked up her ID number. It's not 7777777. Don't play me a fool, partner. That's not what I want to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. The SL9 incident. Answer me, Chief Prosecutor. In that trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? Double finger guns. Aye, Lana. Do you need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Prosecutor? I heard him just fine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, I was in charge of the prosecution for that trial. At the time, occasionally, we felt the powerlessness of the law. At least, I did. Oh, she's about to reveal some, corruption. Lana. I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, what are you saying? I'll ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence in court? Can you look me an investigator in that crime in the eye and say you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to, in order for him to get the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence. Well, Chief Prosecutor just spitting out the lies. See, that's what I'm talking about. No. No! My teacher! My other teacher! Why is everyone I'm taught by corrupt? Lana's remark caused such a stir. Chaos in the courtroom could not be quelled. The conclusive trial would have to be postponed to the next day. Got him. We're even meant to investigate now. Like getting the ID, and that's it. I guess whatever unrelated cases the screwdriver is related to. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright. I'm so sorry for what my sister said. I like how she turned away from Emma's side specifically, like, oh, I'm ashamed. I didn't know. I never knew the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone's heard about these but me. Lana never wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What do you mean, happened to you? It's all there in record. Joe Dark's last victim was Prosecutor Neil Marshall. When he murdered Officer Marshall's brother, he left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. What did you have to do with the killings, Emma? On that night, Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother, Neil, was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes, I was a witness in the Joe Dark trials. I didn't see that one coming. It happened 2 years ago. It was right after this time of the year, too. There was a terrible thunderstorm that day, unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together once she finished work. Then suddenly, This terrifying man came bursting into the office, Joe Dark. Seemed he was running from someone. He pulled out a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on, just that then Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jay Marshall's bro. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. Before he could, Marshall tackled him. Then, what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw there burned a permanent picture in my mind. I could still see it now. Oh no, it's another trauma. Just like Edgeworth, how many parallels are gonna have to all the other cases? This feels like remember that cool thing that happened in the other case? Here it is again. I don't remember the moment when Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall, so we weren't able to testify about that. No, I only asked about when I was attacked. That must be why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean provided bogus evidence? Prosecutor's office wanted a guilty verdict so bad. Lana forged the evidence and Mr. Edward used it. Edgeworth? Yeah, but I'm sure he didn't even know anything about it. He couldn't have known he was given false evidence. Yeah, because it has to be approved. Why would Edgeworth, question it, especially since he was a noob? Even so, that's when it all started, the rumors about Edgeworth. It's all my fault. I could have just testified properly and none of this would have happened. Edgeworth really was involved in falsified evidence. In that case, Lana was never the same. She became cold, like she is today. Must not have been able to face what she did to there, especially not to Emma. Parmanapika. What did you see? Dark knocked down Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Right in front of that poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. You've been through so much. At least your glasses didn't fall off when you fainted. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried to, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good. 2 years ago, you had been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I'd become a scientific investigator. I wanted to be able to fight crime with my testimonies, and find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge anything. You see? I think I finally understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that bothers me about that crime. Something puzzling. Something that's puzzling me, Emma. What is it? You said you were in Lana's office at the time, right? That's right. Why then would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor? Oh, there's no mystery. Joe Dark had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning, you mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled into my sister's office. But then why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective's office and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly, didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. Well, there it is. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's also news to me. Phoenix, you're so clueless about everything. After the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and made chief prosecutor. Wow. She used to be a detective. Better have a talk with her. You got some splaining to do. Screwdriver was in Edward's office, right? Yes, he said it didn't have anything to do with the crime. And what are we doing carrying it around? Don't ask me, I'm not the one making that decision around here. Edward said Chief Gaunt asked him to take it. What does the tag say? Tag says AI-16. Nothing, apparently. I wonder if we'll just end up using it as a screwdriver for something. Alright, let's go talk to Lana. Hey, Lana. It's kind of weird that you get upgraded from detective to chief prosecutor. Like, I'm pretty sure those are two different fields. Like,
like law and then like investigations, like kind of a little bit different. Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh. About you were a detective 2 years ago, and how the SL9 incident was the reason you transferred. That's right. Could you fill me in on the details, especially during the unusual change of job? Suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Well, it's most likely to keep it under wraps with the Deputy Chief of Police. A lot of revelations we uncovered in the trial today, not of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence from the case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I know how obsessive Officer Marshall can be. The trial, it wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you'd always stick to the truth. Couldn't be helped, Emma. At the trial 2 years ago, I sold my soul. All that drama aside, the fact of the matter is, at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana. What the witness, Miss Starr, said. About you stabbing Dr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. Don't ever think I've seen Lana so phased before. I mean, she has probably taken the fall for the higher-ups. It's true, I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talk about all the cases she and Chief Gaunt cracked together. Chief Gaunt? He was deputy chief of the police back then, but he still worked the crime scenes. Damon Gaunt, he was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filed. Really idolized their big sis. But now you're chief prosecutor, what happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to gain experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Gaunt's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to prosecutor office. Oh, I didn't mean to do that one. Bip, 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 bip. Few years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command, that means that the investigation lead was Damon Gaunt. Yep, Deputy Chief Gaunt and I shared the same office, the same investigations. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detectives Goodman, whose case it was, Jake Marshall, and just first time Marshall worked with his brother, he was quite gung-ho. Without doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. That was when his final murder took place. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened upon the scene of the crime was me. Damon Gaunt and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gaunt and Marshall let the guards down and fled the room. From that, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gaunt and myself. That's where he found me. So you were the first person to run to the scene. Why didn't you lock the door? It appears so. I was filing some papers while Gaunt and Marshall were questioning Drake. Dark. Oh, well, that's a weird scene to return to. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies. Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems Mr. Marshall struck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had occurred a minor concussion and lay unconscious. What'd you do? To be honest, I panicked. Picked up Emma, carried her out of the room, and just held her. Can't blame her. After all, her sister must have gone through. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were all involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. Quite a coincidence, huh? I don't buy it. What are you saying? There's no way everyone involved in this trial was involved in that incident just by chance. But the case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe it was truly solved. Officer Marshall, yes, his actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he's completely changed.
I guess he was convinced, he wasn't convinced with the ruling against Joe Dark. Mixed up all these names. There's too many people. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live with the rest of their lives with that memory. Cases might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yeah, in the office. The office that Mr. Gaunt now occupies by himself, the chief office. Maybe we should go check the chief office. I don't know if you'll find anything from 2 years ago in there. But, sure. Look at this screwdriver. It's unrelated. Attorneys and prosecutors have no business showing evidence outside court. It's taboo. Look at this jar. Okay, you got nothing. Time to go, I guess. Anyone here? No one here. Everyone's probably busy looking at what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. But we proved in court today that on the day of the crime, no one was murdered there. Yeah, I thought we were finally making headway on the case. But instead, it looks like we ended up making Ilana look more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. Is Edgeworth here? Edgeworth ain't here. Took a beating in court. Yeah, with Lana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago. Alright. Back to the police. Hey, Marshall. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. I never thought things turned out this way when I woke up this morning. Que sera. You never know when life will lead you, Bambina. I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Billy? Must be his pet cactus. Say, where you headed? Just over to the prosecutor's office for a little interrogation. It's a voluntary appearance, but well, no, I won't be coming back. Sorry, but you can't go in the evidence room today, partner. Mr. Marshall, why do you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I need to know the truth about, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Yeah, free info, please. Give me that free info. Something was fishy about the trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either, all the detectives thought so. What do you mean fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. Murder weapon, you mean? The knife. That was Joe Dark's, alright. But in the initial autopsy report, a question was raised. The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound the victim sustained. What does that mean? It means there's a good chance the knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report that was finally submitted, the possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? That case left a lot of scars on all of us. Scars that the SL9 incident left behind. Scars. I mean, the whole team got disbanded, and your bro is dead. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had just made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean King of Prosecutors? I knew it. What are you looking at me like that for? That's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must have really been close to his bro. The day the SL9 incident took place, that wasn't the same day as... That's right. It was the day of the evidence transfer. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning. By nightfall, there was thunder. Can't believe 2 years have gone by already. I tried to steal evidence so that the case wouldn't die. Apparently someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered, and the evidence locker was empty. Scars. There was something going on behind the scenes of that case. We all knew that later. Every detective involved in that case, save one, was taken care of. The star was fired, and I was demoted and boxed in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him, the commissioners would get suspicious. Nah, they were careful enough not to be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about?
Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon Gaunt and Lana Sky. Gaunt and Ski. The investigation laid Damon Gaunt and his second in command, Lana Sky. There was a person on the force that hadn't heard of that duo. The case was the biggest step in both of their careers. After the case ended, Lana transferred to prosecutor's office, right? Yeah, Damon Gaunt, the new chief of police, arranged for that to happen. She's never been the same since she left. Everyone who knew her said so. Chief Prosecutor Sky was totally different when she was a detective. Emma said so too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambino, but your secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Secrets all started 2 years ago. So there you have it. That's my story. Did you enjoy, partner? Certainly enlightening. There's one thing for sure I found out in court today. That boy Edgeworth is my enemy. He was the one who used falsified evidence to get a guilty verdict, but someone else gave was the one who gave him that evidence, planned everything. That someone's Damon Gaunt. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after day. Oh, he popped the cop. He finally popped it. I guess he's been fake drinking the whole time? Has he been faking the whole time? Has he just been pretending? Is he doing a Germa bit with the cat puke? Okay. Too bad I won't be around when you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Bro. Alright. Time to go in, I guess. Criminal affairs. We're not allowed into the evidence office, so that's all we got. Until, I guess Edgeworth is back. This means everyone's busy. Well, if you're looking for the others, they're all in the conference room. Thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. With the chief prosecutor saying what she did and the decision about what to do about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media and tomorrow's trial, there's more chaos going around than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look at Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building. Take the elevator up to the top floor. Really? You mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Hey, you're right. You can't go in there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his eating charm. Oh, what are we waiting for? Let's just go. Yay, incompetence. Dark case may have been fabricated. That's what I thought all along. I just never bothered to tell anyone. That's it. The villain used the time machine. Very clever indeed. That would explain the alibi. The future might not be so far away after all. He's not writing a report, he's writing a novel. Alright, let's go break into the chief's office. What the fuck is this? Why you got a villain organ in your office? Phantom of the Opera up in here. Oh, is that why organs play when his theme comes up? Cause it's like the theme from his office. Well, where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what it says on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bach. Little Miss Bach. I thought I was a genius when I tried. I never could remember where C was. Bro, middle C is literally it's the easiest one. It's the easiest one. Oh, hey, Gaunt. Oh, it's you two. Chief Gaunt. But that paper he was reading in his desk. So, righto. Have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've been kind of busy lately. Why does he have so many weird tells? He's constantly asking about swimming. He gives everyone nicknames. He has the slow, like, blink of just, like, like dead eyes and just like, oh shit, let me snap back to reality. Let's see, I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct. Lana's provocative statement. Provocative state. Oh, you mean the forged evidence. 2 years have passed since that incident. My, how time flies. See that big picture over there on the wall? What the fuck is this? That's a picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something's not right with this picture. Can't quite seem to put my finger on it though. I mean, I'm pretty sure I remember this bit. Any clues? Chat? Chit chat? Which one? Is that one? Alright, well, I don't know where you pointed, but, because I don't have, I forget what the name of the program is. It's like mob touchies. The screen touch. But you'll just mention if it was the right one, I guess. Giant team picture added. Because I'm pretty sure I remember what it is. Yeah, it's that thing right there. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there are matters that I need my attention. I'm gonna lock up here, so let's go out together. Open this office. It was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case has long since been over. There's no need to investigate it any further. At the same time, we'd still like to have a look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend. Well, that's not sus. Looks like we aren't welcome. Seems the case isn't over yet, after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied our request to search the crime scene. Even though the other day he was like, if someone asked me $50, I would give him $50 on the spot. That means there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way to get inside. Do-do-do-do. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Hey, Gumshoe. Hey, pal. Detective Gumshoe, aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, haven't either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No. Why do you ask? He's under fire from the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like the battle's between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. They had falsified evidence 2 years ago. Now Mr. Edgeworth has the whole world after his blood. Yikes. Theme of Gumshoe. Why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew the evidence was forged. Lana Sky's the guilty party here, isn't she? Sorry, Emma. Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence that they present in court. Not only that. But as you know, there have been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent as a prosecutor kept him safe from all those who didn't like him. But now with this, are there really so many people that hate him? In our world, only those with talent rise to the top. Mitch Edwards not only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know for making enemies. Hey, Dick! Keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. Seems you don't have any problem with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all that pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth just might crack. Asshole 9. Actually, I took a look at the file while brewing coffee was brewing. Seems genuinely concerned about Edgeworth. Well, you find anything? The only evidence Dark left behind was during his final attack. You mean when he killed Prosecutor Marshall, who was trying to protect some girl?
Me. Seems Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was that girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. What was it? Oh, let's see. I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forgot. Look, it's all written somewhere in there, okay? This power of recollection never fails to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. Might jog his memories. Dark crimes. Joe Duck was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. Businessman? What made him take it to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. So it was an accident. An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. Animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed the lady who saw that second crime. Kid walked by just then, so he killed him too. And then, when he was burying the bodies, a jogger came over to the scene and was killed as well. Finally, he turned himself in. What the fuck? Seems he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence. So he turned himself in. Yeah, but in the middle of his questioning, he fled and murdered his final victim. How is there no evidence with like 6 bodies? Wouldn't he also have evidence from his car? Like, would his car not have been cracked up from like hitting someone and then with blood? How is there nothing? Like sure, if he was a meticulous killer, but you said it started with a manslaughter. And he said this all happened one after the other, and then he turned himself in. What did you dump his car into the lake? Hide all the bodies so well? Like, what? Did you never find these bodies? Is that what you're saying? Like, okay. You didn't find the giant hole he was digging for these like 6 bodies. And the fact that he killed a jogger who happened upon the scene means that it was a trail that someone could have seen. If you had checked around for jogging, like, what? Okay, whatever, okay. Prosecutor Marshall, that crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily Dark was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing the last witness wasn't killed. That last witness, aka Emma. All right, let's show you the stabby. Let's go. About this. Hey, there's a tag on it that says SL9. I believe this was the broken murder weapon you spoke of. What are you doing with that? Ever since the case has been closed, the knife's been locked away in a locker. The day of Detective Goodman's murder, the locker was suddenly disappeared from the locker. It was found in Miss Edgeworth's car muffler. That's it. I remember what that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back. What is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget. The murder weapon. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it to, plus it had his fingerprints on it. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at the knife, you'll see it's broken. You have to take a good look to notice that. Yeah, well anyway, take a guess where the broken off tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Or was it? The victim near Marshall was carrying it in his own body. It's found deep inside the stab wound. Did it match Dark's knife? You bet. Down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. We got his autopsy. Okay. And it got updated. Well, there you have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask you one more thing? What is it? If it's money you need, you should ask Chief Gant. It's not money, but it does concern the Chief. His office is a crime scene, right? It's where Prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. Chief's office out. Chief's out now and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if it's okay. Well, I need Detective's ID can unlock that door. What? Really? But if I let a civilian in there, I'd be charged with breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I'd be canned. Oh, sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this idea? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. Data was deleted the other day. The day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe's our only chance of getting into that office. I wonder if there's something we could show him to make him change his mind. Okay. What would show him to change his mind? Here's the picture. I guess we'll just go down the list. They've been studying these files. There's nothing wrong with Mr. Edwards' presentation. I think people are accusing him of injustice. I, for one, ain't buying it, pal. You looking into the case for Mr. Edgeworth? Yeah, it was a pretty big deal when while it was going on, you know? After all, a serial killer is on loose. Belana was pretty clear in her confession. She forged evidence in order to prove Joe Dart guilty. Marshall Prince. Can't believe Officer Marshall was found there. You know Officer Marshall? Of course I do. He was like a mentor to me. When I first started out, he even gave me a small cactus. Really? He said, Dick, she'll listen to all your troubles. Note to self. Detective Gumshoe talking to a cactus. Hard to believe he's just a patrolman now. Someone ought to trade places with him. What? Why are you looking at me? Look at this jar. About that jar. I think I've seen it somewhere. Somewhere. Maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives. It's been the most uninformed detective I've ever met. Something about it makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief gone. Where have I seen that before? Here's the picture, I guess. Do I actually have to look at it? I'm assuming it's in the background. Yeah, it's right there. It's right there. I don't have the ability to show it to him? Okay. Continuing going down the list. No locker can be opened without a fingerprint. Besides, there's no reason for a murderer to touch his own locker. Wasn't your locker the one covered in blood, Detective? Shh! They come and arrest me. You'll defend me, won't you? If you do that, I hope you do better than Edgeworth. Sheesh. Oh, a lost item report, huh? Very impressive, Detective. You know what? It was right off the bat. Well, I am a master of misplacement, you know? Master. Oh, that has such a cool ring to it. The way I see it, if things are meant to be lost, then they're meant to be lost. It's a higher power at work here. Wow, higher power. Maybe I shouldn't let Emma hold any evidence. Get a screwdriver. Dang. Fingerprints. Hey, that powder's used for detecting fingerprints. Yeah, Miss Edgeworth gave it to us. He did what? All I have is some flour. Are you okay, Detective? Quick, run! Achoo! If it's any help, one time I took a nap on a bench with wet paint. Why am I not comforted? Bro, cover your mouth. Bro. That's the ID card record, ain't it? Yeah, there's one number left to investigate at 420. Detective Goodman must have entered the evidence room along with someone else. Someone with an executive office number. 777777777? That's one 7 too many, Detective. Executive officer, I have a hunch. Betcha. Okay, this guy almost made us lose the case today. What are you talking about? He was guarded in a bloodstain on the evidence lock with his life. That's more than you could say about most offices nowadays. Would have saved us a lot of trouble if he hadn't guarded so well. I have to admit, he's right though. Thanks to Blue Badger, we were able to prove another possibility. Possibility that another murder took place prior to that. ID belongs there, okay, secret number. But I'm me after all, what could be wrong? The award, I was there, congrats. Why is the shield and why is it broken? I guess we come back later. What did we get was new? We got the picture and we got the autopsy. Can we talk to Lana about it? No, she still won't talk to me. Okay. Guess we go back to the parking lot. Nothing new. Is Edgeworth in now? Looks like it. Wonder if Edward's back. There he is. He looks like he's writing something. What? What are you doing here? Oh no, he crumpled it on the floor. I'm gonna swipe that later. That's mine now, Edgeworth. Steal your shit. Tough day in court, huh? I'd to live the past 2 years with rumors flying around. What's another allegation to me? Cheer up, Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. That's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. Pour evidence. There's no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false evidence to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to, and nothing I can do can erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that evidence was falsified. The evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office share a bond of trust. That bond is broken. We stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility as the prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuses I have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it all come to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep his emotions bottled up. Bottled. Are you up for the trial tomorrow? Someone just drink some water. Okay. First last year's trial, now this one. Seems all you do is worry about me. What are we, bros or something? Bros? We broing it up? We broing it up, bro? To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out on the trial. Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet that's what my superiors are banking on. Never thought that case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence. It seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists? That's odd. After all, Neil Marshall was murdered. After Neil Marshall was murdered, I became prosecutor for that case. It may not have been part of the investigation, but I knew what to do. I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect guilty. That was really the only thing on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taken around that time. Can you tell us about what happened that day? That day Detective Goodman was murdered. You were participating at a ceremony over at the station, right? Never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this. Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning, then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends, clerical stuff. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is, until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah! Chief Gaunt asked you to hold on to that, didn't he? Yes. It was a piece of evidence in a case that was closed half a year ago. He asked you to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. That's the story we heard yesterday. So you came back here to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to. That's right. Resent. Screwdriver. Okay, but this isn't related, isn't it? So I did. Chief Gant gave you this the other day, didn't he? He asked you to bring it to the police department. From the police department. The chief is a very competent man. But sometimes he does things that don't make any sense. At least it's better than being incompetent doing things that don't make sense. Picture. This picture was hanging on the wall in Chief Gaunt's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He had just started making a name for himself. Looks like this was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me. Yes. The trophy Mr. Marshall is holding. It's a little different from yours. Yes, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was the official prosecutor trophy it looked like until 2 years ago. There's a story behind its design. Story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award is based on. Trophy. This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. Oh man, Confucius. In Chinese, the word contradiction is written with 2 characters. The first meaning halberd, and the second meaning shield. Have you heard that story? No. Sure, everyone knows that. Why don't you tell it though, you know, for Emma's sake? Very well. Oh hey, actual, like, watercolor drawing. Long ago in the kingdom of Chu, there was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with 2 items. The first was a halberd he claimed could slice through any shield or armor. The second was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute.
Objection!
Objection! Those claims contradict each other! Yeah, no shit, right? What the fuck? Very perceptive, but then again, you've heard this story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the descriptions of these items discredit them both. When the king pointed this out, the merchant was left speechless, and thus the Chinese word for contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chipped knife, the chipped shield and the broken knife symbolize... Precisely. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words, but it's our nature to pursue matters to their conclusion. Even if the results is sometimes as ugly as this. Wow, thanks, Miss Edgeworth. I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You left that Chief Gaunt. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Updated. Yeah, that was the difference in the picture. Did you get it? Did you point it out properly? How are you holding up? Should I stop here? Game over.